Using weak, old, and reused passwords is a thing of the past now that password managers exist, and there are actually tons of good ones too. That's why finding a balance between affordable, safe, and easy to use can be a challenge. But don't worry, I've done the research. Today I'll be comparing NordPass versus Proton Pass versus 1Password to finally answer which is the best password manager. If you've seen any of my other cyber news reviews, you'll know that solid security is of vital importance to me. And the backbone of any good password manager security is its encryption. All three of these password managers use virtually unhackable encryption ciphers that ensure any stored data is safe. The only notable difference between them is that NordPass uses a more modern and faster version of the encryption. Am I shocked? Not really, especially considering the company behind NordPass, Nord Security, is somewhat of a powerhouse with tons of cybersecurity tools on offer. But then arguably so is Proton Pass, a company that takes their security and transparency so seriously that they've made their software open source and available to anyone who wants to check for faults and suggest improvements. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying 1Password isn't reputable too. Just like Proton Pass and NordPass, 1Password also has a zero-knowledge architecture, meaning only you have access to any data you saved. It also submits to periodic independent audits, which are basically an unbiased third-party review of their security infrastructure. And multi-factor authentication options are also available with 1Password to make your login process much more secure too. I guess you could say 1Password just doesn't have the same kind of dominance across the entire cybersphere, and that's totally fine. You don't have to monopolize an entire industry to put out a good product. In conclusion, it's safe to say that all three providers qualify as secure password manager options, each fully capable of doing the job they're meant to do. So if you're interested in getting a password manager that keeps your passwords in an impenetrable digital fortress, be sure to check my links below to see the current best prices. Otherwise, stick around to see what else I discovered in my NordPass versus Proton Pass versus 1Password analysis. An important question for any password manager comparison is there a learning curve when it comes to actually storing, sharing, and managing my passwords? With NordPass, there wasn't for me. The user interface is modern with a clean layout, which makes it the best password manager app for beginners. There are neat tabs down the left side panel. If all I want to do is keep things simple and only view, manage, and add new passwords, I can do all that from a single tab. You can share passwords by just clicking here, and then altering permissions and entering an email address. And I can easily create different folders here. Best of all the NordPass desktop apps share the same interface, and all their mobile apps share the same main functionalities, though autofill and autosave do work best on a laptop while using their browser extension. Meanwhile, with 1Password, while their interface is polished, doing certain basic tasks like adding passwords might feel a little confusing at first. However, once you get the hang of it, the customization options are super useful. I can generate a link for passwords I want to share and set expirations. I'd argue this password manager is best for families. With a family subscription, the admin can easily alter who can see various vaults and keep each of the account's users entirely separate. And if I want to put a password into a specific vault, I can simply drag and drop it. And lastly, not trying to make this a 1Password review, but just want to shout out the interface, which is easy to use across both mobile and desktop. At a glance, you might not expect the same from Proton Pass. With a techie vibe that seems both slower to navigate and less polished than NordPass, it could initially put some beginners off, but in reality, it's deceptively simple. All the typical password manager functions and all of my saved logins appear on the main page for easy access. I have the ability to share passwords and even generate shareable links. And finally, there's no noticeable difference between Windows and Mac apps, and all the mobile apps seem functional too. Plus, you can also use Proton Pass directly within your browser with their Pass web app. That covers usability, but let's quickly talk about how practical each provider's features are to use. The core function of any password manager is password generation, and all three do this perfectly. They also each offer autofill, which instantly lets you log in when visiting web pages. With NordPass, this is done through the browser extension, and they also include autofilling of credit card and personal info. Plus, they have another feature called Instant Login, which works excellently. 1Password, by contrast, not only offers excellent autofill, but also includes privacy cards that automatically enter your virtual credit card information when you shop online. Now, sharing passwords securely is something we've already discussed a little bit, but the biggest difference between the providers with this feature is that NordPass only lets you send passwords to other NordPass users, while with 1Password and Proton Pass, you can send them to anyone. Next, being able to check the health of your entire password ecosystem is really important, especially for spotting outdated or reused passwords. All three providers include a quick check feature that makes it easy to review and update them. Dark web monitoring is another essential feature, which alerts you if any of your saved information is leaked on dark web databases. 1Password conveniently integrates this feature within their password health tool called Watchtower. You don't even need to shift between tabs. Similarly, Proton Pass keeps theirs in one section under Pass Monitor. And with NordPass, though it is in a separate tab, the functionality is pretty advanced, letting you know specifically what type of information was compromised, when and where it happened, and how to secure the account. On that note, at Cyber News, we have our very own free tool where you can enter your passwords to see if they've been leaked online. Just tap the card on screen to use it and reduce your risk of identity theft, financial damage, or worse. Back to our comparison, the emergency access feature lets a trusted person view your vault in case of an emergency. As of recently, both NordPass and Proton Pass now have this feature, and though 1Password won't let users grant access to anyone in the same way, they do offer a downloadable PDF of your info, which you can safely store in the event you lose access to your account and need to restore everything. And finally, all the providers share the ability to create passkeys, which are a digital alternative to passwords. Passkeys use biometrics and another device like a phone or a laptop instead of a password to log into websites. But what does each provider bring to the table in terms of unique features that set them apart? NordPass has a lot of excellent features, but just to name a couple of my favorites, email masking creates disposable email addresses but forwards the messages to your real inbox. It's an easy way to protect your privacy and cut down on spam. And they also have offline mode, which I found to be a really convenient way to view and copy entries without needing a connection. 1Password's most notable feature is travel mode. It's good, but only really useful for those wanting extra security while abroad. Travel mode lets you select which entries are safe for travel, and then only those will be viewable while you're away. And yes, I already mentioned this before, but again, 1Password's vault management with the family plan is probably one of the best implementations on the market. And unlike NordPass, it lets you share folders with other family members. Finally, we have Proton Pass. Like I said, they keep their offerings pretty minimalistic with mostly just core features, but they do have a hide my email aliases feature. It's similar to NordPass's masking tool, but with Proton's version, you can send emails from various aliases. Additionally, paid users of Proton Pass can also access the app offline, but this mode needs to be enabled in settings. Overall, each password manager gives me everything I need to easily store, share, and access my passwords. But if I had to pick one provider in this category for ease of use, I'd go with NordPass. Its features feel the most well integrated and accessible. By the way, I've got the best deal out there for NordPass, so feel free to grab it from the description down below or scan the QR code on screen. But can any be considered a cheap password manager? Well, they all offer individual family and business plans, but if we focus only on personal plans, NordPass is the most affordable. Proton Pass sits in the middle, and 1Password's individual plan is unfortunately the most expensive. Though, to be fair, none of these providers cost more than a cup of coffee a month. And don't forget, you can take advantage of our Cyber News reviews deals for each provider to make their prices even better. Answering what's the best password manager isn't simple. In my opinion, each is an excellent option for keeping your data secure, but for different reasons. If you want a safe and easy to use tool with great value for the money, NordPass is my personal favorite. To protect your whole family and have individual vaults that are easy to customize, 1Password is best. And finally, Proton Pass is open source, sits at a mid-range price point, and comes from a notably privacy-first company. Check out the channel for more great videos, like, for example, if you're looking for a 1Password review, Proton Pass review, or NordPass review. I appreciate your time. See ya.